Hey friends, welcome to day 6 of the 31 days of Samhain. If you're just now finding us or if you've been recommended by a friend, my name is Alina. I'm the co-owner of Pathways New Age Books and Gifts in St. Louis, Missouri. We are a brick and mortar metaphysical supply and event center. So basically we cater to folks of a lot of different faiths and spiritual traditions that are outside of the everyday norm, so to speak. So, if you're just now joining us, please know that you can go back and catch any of the videos you may have missed. So today's focus is going to be on oils. So we've talked a little bit as we've gone along. We're kind of building on what we're working on. So we've talked about charging your space, charging jewelry, charging talismans, working with herbs. And now I wanted to touch a little bit on working with oils. Now, oils you have to be really careful with, especially if it's like an essential oil. These are not diluted, and some of them can actually be caustic to your skin and raise a blister. Like everybody loves cinnamon oil, but if you put it neat on your skin, it will burn you and it will actually raise a blister. So it's one of those that you always want to make sure you dilute it before you use it. And that's just a good rule of thumb with any essential oil that you work with. So kind of keep that in mind. Now there's a couple ways you can work with oils during our 31 days of Samhain. You can create a blend that you will use throughout our series. You could use it to anoint a candle. But one of the ways that I want to talk about today that you don't, pardon me, you don't normally hear people talk about is to use it in a diffuser. So this is a very, it's sturdy. I use it. This is a very simple diffuser that we carry at the shop um, that you can turn on lights, put a timer on it, whatever. You just fill it up to the line with water and then put your essential oil in it, put the cap on it, push go, it's ready to go. But a word of caution, just like with people, and you don't want to use essential oils neat on your skin, you want to be really careful on what you use around your animals. Um, I like to use my diffuser, but my cat is like glued to my side. She's like really just over there. So if I want to use a diffuser in my space, I need to make sure it's not close to me because she's close to me. Um, Cats do not have the proteins in their body to be able to break essential oils down, so it can actually literally kill your cat. And like dogs shouldn't be around tea tree, that sort of thing. So there's a couple of ways you can do this to make it safe. Put it in a room, close the door where the pets can't get in. Make sure you don't use too much oil if you're going to leave it out, or if you do use it in a really large space. But again, you want to kind of keep track of those little fur babies and what they're up to because glued to my side all the time. So I want to talk about some of the oils that you might want to think about using in your diffuser. There are several. Um, the one that I'm specifically going to work with this season personally is thyme. Um, and I think it's, yep, here it is. And this is thyme. And thyme is used both for protection, but it's also good for working with the feelings of grief and mourning and loss that come with when you lose someone. So I've already decided that personally this Samhain I am going to do some long overdue work um, with coming to terms with some folks in my life that have passed on. So that's why I would use that. So like if it's someone that you felt like you had just a very good loving relationship with and you just want to put some energy out there for them, you may want to consider something like a rose. Any of the higher vibrational flowers would work. Rose, jasmine, things like that. And then you could also use things like basil, which is protective, and you could use a different oil depending on what you want to kind of fine tune your work to. But again, you want to treat this just like you would any other magical tool. So whether it's your oil or your diffuser, whichever one you're using. But I like to kind of take a moment and, connect up with deity, similar to like what we do on our daily morning Facebook lives. When we connect up with spirit, again, whatever label you call it is fine. And first we start by clearing our space, then we call in the energetic, and then we magnify what we're doing, and of course we always give thanks. So you might even want to take your bottle and hold it in your hands like that. Take a moment to connect up with spirit, invite that energetic in. And you always want to cleanse your space first, so visualize that energy cleansing it. And then you want to take a moment to connect up with spirit or source. Another thing you want to do is you want to connect with the energetic of what's in the bottle. So in this case, it would be time. So I want to like kind of put a call out to that energetic of that plant to assist me and to help me with what I'm doing. Allow yourself to kind of come into the vibrational energy of that plant. And then, of course, give gratitude before you use it. So again, if you're going to use an essential oil like this, and if you're going to use it on a candle, you want to, again, make sure you dilute this down. So you can dilute this with any unscented carrier oil, like a jojoba or a sweet almond or an apricot kernel or anything. But you just want to use a few drops of this because you are going to get it on your hands unless you're wearing gloves. So keep that in mind, and you can anoint your candle. What I like to do when I'm establishing connection is go from the middle and go clockwise out there, and then go from the middle and go clockwise, not clockwise, counterclockwise back down. So what you're doing essentially is you're creating this spiral from you out there to spirit. Now, some people have different ways of doing this. And as I've shared before, this is just what works for me. So please, by all means, do what works for you. Some people might want to use more like a sweeping motion, like they're putting out the call to spirit. I kind of like going from half and half from the middle is like me reaching up to spirit and spirit reaching down to me, and we meet in the middle there. And again, that's just my personal way of doing it. Please do what works for you. So when you're using your diffuser, you can charge your diffuser just like you charge your oils. You might want to say a blessing over the water before you put it in. And all of this just kind of helps your brain make that switch to we've gone from the regular mundane world into like this is my personal spiritual time. So some of this might seem a little excessive to some people, and you don't have to do all of this. This is just a suggestion for you. But anytime I'm doing deep spiritual work for any length of time, I just want to take the time and do it right. I want to do it in a way that's going to make the most connection for me, and I would encourage you to do the same thing. So, even if you already have some water and some oil in there, and maybe you've turned your diffuser off, whenever you go back to turn it on, just kind of like take a moment, connect up with spirit before you push the go button, and you'll be all set. So again, adding oils to the herbs we've already talked about, to the jewelry or the talismans, to cleansing and protecting your space. All of this builds on each other as we move through this month of the 31 days of Samhain. So as always, I hope you've enjoyed this. And of course, please share this with anyone you think may benefit from it. It helps us as an independent business. And again, if you have any questions, please call the shop at 314-842-0047. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you.